It's no surprise that Bonelab has experienced a prolonged content drought, and as we approach the 1-year milestone since its release, the absence of updates has become apparent. By this time, Boneworks had quite a few content drops already, including Zombie Warehouse, Hover Junkers, Tac Trial, just to name a few. So far, Bonelab has had the Gotcha Machine, a few guns, and the developer rooms, which they yet to expand upon or really explain any further. Nothing close to the Boneworks treatment. Now if you're like me, you've probably played the Boneworks story a few times over and over, as one of Boneworks' best qualities was the replayability of each mission, as each mission felt unique and open to adventure. Bonelab's level design left players underwhelmed with their lack of inspiration and enjoyment. In Bonelab, there's quite the disparity between the captivating opening sequence, the middle avatar minigames, and the final conclusion. Putting the narrative aside, where do we stand today with SLZ, and what are they up to? Throughout this period of silence, the community interaction with Stress Level Zero has been limited. Despite verbal assurances from Brandon about the studio's commitment to supporting the game for a 2-year span, as seen from his tweet, one of the latest updates we've received was the studio is currently immersed in finalizing the official release of the SDK, a crucial component that was initially slated for post-launch integration. And, well, it was kind of what the whole game was founded upon, but that's a topic for a different day. To fill the cataclysmic void that Stress Level Zero has left for the game, credit must be given to the dedicated modding community, who single-handedly injected new life into this game, preventing its descent into obscurity. Particularly noteworthy is the Fusion mod, a game changer that introduced multiplayer functionality into Bonelab. This revolutionized gameplay, providing an entirely novel way to experience the game. Notably, Lakatraz's efforts have demonstrated the viability of multiplayer, clearly echoing the community's desire. The imminent launch of Quest 2 multiplayer adds to this anticipation. It's reasonable to speculate that Stress Level Zero is reevaluating their stance on multiplayer in light of the overwhelming demand from the community. The game's potential is incredible, and incorporating official multiplayer support would enable the creation of diverse game modes, which brings me to my first improvement that Bonelab can make. Now, if SLZ does decide to incorporate official multiplayer support at some point, incorporating well-designed multiplayer and co-op modes can extend the game's lifespan and provide avenues for social interaction and collaborative gameplay. These modes could introduce missions or challenges that require teamwork and coordination. Players would have to communicate effectively, strategize to overcome various challenges. In essence, the integration of multiplayer and co-op modes in Bonelab represents an exciting opportunity to enrich the gaming experience on multiple fronts. Imagine a mission where in order to progress, you have to work with another player to solve two-person puzzles. Imagine a driving mission where one of you has to drive, the other has to shoot. There's a multitude of scenarios where this could apply. And given the sandbox of this game, the ideas that you could come up with are limitless. A notable aspect that has become apparent within the Bonelab experience is the absence of unique abilities among enemies, resulting in a somewhat lackluster design. To invigorate the gameplay and enhance player engagement, a comprehensive AI overhaul stands as a compelling proposition. Presently, the adversaries within the game lack distinctive traits that set them apart, and these are specifically the null bodies, the zombies, and the security guards. So these interactions with these NPCs lead to a somewhat predictable and, dare I say, mundane encounter. So to remedy this, I envision a reimagination of these NPCs, where they evolve into entities that are not only responsive to the surrounding environment, but also exhibit a spectrum of behaviors that mirror a heightened level of realism and intelligence. Imagine a security guard that doesn't just mindlessly charge at the player, but rather reacts organically to the environment that they're in. Picture them strategically utilizing objects strewn throughout the environment, Whether it's picking up a discarded weapon, seeking cover behind obstacles, or even adapting their tactics based on the terrain. This enhanced AI could effectively transform these NPCs into more formidable opponents, thereby elevating the challenge and thrill of each engagement. Consider the immersive potential of NPCs that recognize changes in their surroundings. Perhaps an enemy notices a broken window and becomes more cautious, anticipating potential threats from that direction. Such adaptive behavior not only enriches the gameplay, but also crafts a more believable and engaging experience. In essence, the proposal to redesign Bonelab's NPCs is more than a mere technical adjustment. It's a gateway to transforming the entire gaming experience. By infusing these characters with the ability to react, adapt, and think strategically, we're not just elevating combat scenarios, we're fundamentally altering the way players interact with the game. It's a step toward a more immersive, dynamic, and enthralling adventure, where each encounter becomes a tactical puzzle, and every victory is all the more satisfying. Now we know Stress Level 0 has already developed the Marrow engine, and Brandon has already come out and said that they plan on utilizing this platform to make games in the future, and my guess is that they'll be licensing this engine technology out to other developers to actually develop in Marrow and create other games. So essentially, this would be like the Unreal Engine of VR potentially. I do realize that Stress Level 0 is an indie developer, and multiplayer support is not just a flip of a switch to make happen. There's networking setup, interfaces, and overhead that you have to bring on to make all that happen and come to fruition. But I thought these were some areas for the game to improve, and reasonable suggestions for SLZ to implement. They are developing a game engine with Marrow after all, and if done right, it could become the Unreal Engine of VR.